Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all you wonderful non-binary folk. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Where you're from, don't care what you do, as long as you love me, who you are. Where you're from, don't care what you do, as long as you love me. Alright, this is going to be a test, as much as a test as it is the proper stream. I love this game, so I'm happy to play it for you. But I don't know how well the microphone works, so we're going to do our best right now. I don't care who you are, where you're from, don't care what you do, as long as you love me, who you are, where you're from, don't care what you do, as long as you love me. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. No more bad singing. It's not in the title, so we will not do the bad singing. But I try to hide it so that no one knows, but I guess it shows. Are you listening? We're testing. I'm kind of low. As you love me, baby. Alright, I don't know what to do, so we're gonna try to fix this. Let's see. The moon, I don't care who you are, where you're from, we're doing audio tests, as long as you love me. Well, I'm not gonna shout, so let me see. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, who you are, where you're from, whatever you did, as long as you love me. Okay, audio level seem kinda okay. I don't know. See, when I talk like this, it gets too high, so, let's see. As long as you love me, what you do, I don't care, as long as you love me. Alright, we're gonna just go with this, because it's going okay, so. Transition. You are in the court of the Egyptian god Anubis, answering for my sins. That's, where are you? Oh, we're gonna test out the Australian real quick, so let's see how that goes. Hang on.
Scan. No previous item. Button. Achievements. We're in the court of the Egyptian
kinda.
god
I don't hear it,
Anubis,
but
answering
that's
for
okay.
my sins. Radio button.
That's okay.
Selected.
We're gonna turn it
1
off.
of 4. Exiting narrator.
Oh, come on. Turn it off.
Scan.
Oh, turn it back
Exiting
on.
narrator.
Okay, there we go. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make this work, but we're choosing the top one. Alright. You see a robot Anubis, jackal-headed guardian of the Egyptian underworld, seated on a throne of gold-etched silicone in a hall of dark glass. He holds scales on which he weighs a clockwork heart against a silicone brain. Tell me your sins, robot maker, Anubis says. Anubis. Yeah, your scales balance because I gave my robots neither hearts nor minds. My minions obeyed me without question as I conquered Alaska. I recall, says Anubis. Your reign of terror sent me many souls, both robot and human. The black glass behind the gold shimmers and reveals a snowy battlefield lit with flaming debris and stained with blood. You see yourself standing alone on the battlefield. Your right arm has been replaced with a kind of cannon. Nice, a Mega Man. An American jet fighter flies overhead. You fire a rocket-propelled grenade from your prosthetic weapon. The grenade homes in on the jet, using its own rudimentary intelligence. The vehicle erupts in a fireball. The pilot of that jet was quite an interesting soul, Anubis says. You mistake me for someone who cares, you say. I traded my humanity for power. She's pretty badass. So you did, Anubis says. Are you satisfied? No. Then you may try again, Anubis says. Surely if you acquire still more power, you'll finally be at peace. Anubis throws his head back and laughs like a hyena. You throw your head back and laugh with the old god. Maniacal laughter is quite enjoyable, you decide. You have to do it more often. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway. Some things are under control, and others are not. Epictetus? We'll see what the Australian says. We mute.
Scan, button, but some things are in our control and others not. Epictetus. Button, Alt and N, Chapter 1, Assembly. Show stats button, achievements button. You awaken with your head on a desktop keyboard. Exiting narrator.
She sounds better than I do, honestly. But we'll keep doing this. You awaken with your head on a desktop keyboard. Oh, let me do this so I can see where I am. Your 3D drafting program is still open. Oh, mute, sorry. The schematics zoomed in are the recesses where your smartphone was snapped into the back to act as its brain. You recall fiddling with that part endlessly last night, until finally, your vision begins to fade. There's a roaring in your ears, and you realize you've been working far too long. You must have passed out. It's the fall of 2019, and you're a 24-year-old graduate student with a PhD program. In a PhD program in computer science at Stanford. We're a guy. And our name is Hal. Yes. Nah, that's not my name. Howl Toussaint. Howl it, people. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You look around your apartment. What does it look like? A bust of famous philosophers sit next to my own attempts to sculpt them. You've always found people interesting, both in their external appearance and internal thought processes. Yeah, aesthetics are important, and the actual way the mind works is really fascinating. Okay, and you're getting better as a sculptor, though it'll take a few more years until your efforts are ready for public viewing. Yeah. My efforts are not ready for public viewing, yet here I am anyway. No more commentary. I'm sorry. This is not the type of ASMR this is. I'm just going to read to you guys. I'm sorry. Here we go. It strikes you for a moment that this kind of thinking about your life affects your robots in second nature to you. Though others might find it peculiar, you've been fascinated by how every little detail of your life, from the content of your dreams to the decor of your room, changes the input of your robots you create. Boost to your empathy, to their empathy, or autonomy, or grace, or appeal to the military. Surely there are other things going on around you as a result of your decisions, but they don't immediately strike you in the same way. Today, your robot is foremost on your mind because you're about to build its body. You pick up your laptop and head to the Stanford machine shop. Yeah. It is a beautiful spring day in Palo Alto, California. And your apartment is only a short walk from the machine shop. But the streets of Palo Alto are not designed for walking. You find yourself climbing around palm trees and balancing on narrow curbs, as you do every day. You hear a low roar overhead. Glancing up, you see is a flying car, a Nimbus. A little over 300,000. You can buy a car with wings that fold out, so that it becomes a small sports plane. The red Nimbus looks sleek and sporty, a sort of a car its owner takes religiously to the car wash. Sorry. Though the commercials would have you believe that it can fly anywhere you want in those cars, the FAA still requires them to take off and land at airports. Only here in wealthy Silicon Valley do you see them with any frequency. The first time you saw, the first time you saw one, you couldn't quite believe the future had arrived so quickly. But the second time you saw one, you thought, yep, I will own one of these one day, I swear it. Much love. Okay, here we go. We've been saving money for a while now. You've been saving money for a while now. It's not much, but every little bit counts, you feel. Your frugality helps as much as your investments. Yeah. The Stanford University fabrication shop smells like oil and burnt plastic. The room is dominated by large metal hand-cranked milling machines and lathes. Dinosaurs of the 20th century. Oh. While the most used machines are the smaller 3D printers and the computer-controlled jet cutters that take a quarter of the space. The light have a sterile fluorescence of an operating room, with only a single tiny window near the ceiling to inform you that it is day. You start up the National Public Radio podcast on your laptop. You haven't seen your advisor much since you joined the lab, so you choose the episode in which he's the interviewee. Oh, a soothing voice. Okay, so my guest today is Dr. Harvey Ziegler, says a woman with a soothing voice. Dr. Ziegler, thank you for talking with us today.
Well, a scientist does have some responsibility to inform the unwashed masses, Terry.
You let the podcast run as you walk over to 3D printers. What material have you decided to use for your robot? Metal, of course. You walk over to the computer-controlled jet cutter, where a helpful pictogram shows the jet of abrasive-filled water slicing a hand in two. Dr. Ziegler, in your book, you talk about the singularity. Could you describe for our listeners what that is?
Terry, the singularity is coming time when artificial intelligence will have to figure out how to make themselves and us smarter. Once that happens, the process will build on itself until the robots are smart enough to figure out how we can live forever.
Is that possible? The interviewer asks. Living forever?
Of course, Dr. Ziegler says. What does it matter whether operating systems are made out of meat or silicon?
So, you're predicting we'll become robots?
Not exactly, Dr. Ziegler says. But I do think the line between humans and robots will blur.
You're hardly listening to the podcast because you're about to make your first robot part. What does the head of your robot look like? I usually choose this one because, that's beautiful. I might. Yeah. A Venetian mask. Beautiful, emotionless, and otherworldly. Yes. The jet cutter quickly cuts the face. The small nose, the dainty mouth, the large black holes where CCD panels will absorb all light. It takes somewhat longer to add the integral metal frill that adds a corona to the mask. This robot will command awe. Dr. Ziegler, what do you think the singularity will happen? What makes you think the singularity will happen now?
Well, for one thing, I'm our lab. But seriously, my lab is taking a unique approach because we're saying, why not teach a robot like a child? We're going to equip the robot with the best sensory money can buy and teach it English. It could rapidly teach itself using the internet.
Well, that's annoying. Your advisor thought that a robot child was a stupid idea until you told him Turing proposed it back in 1950, minus the internet part. But he isn't giving credit to either of you. You keep working, regardless.
How will your robot get around? I want to use the wings. That's usually how I roll, but it'll walk upright on two legs. When the jet cutter is done with the head, you start the program that produces the torso and cue the upper and lower legs. You think being bipedal will help your robot get along with humans, though it will also make it easier for your robot to trip and fall. Use a basic hand crank milling machine to drill holes in the head for screws, since jet water cutters aren't the best for shredding holes. And who is going to raise this robotic child? The interviewer asks. Who does all the grunt work in our research laboratory?
Dr. Ziegler says.
The graduate students, of course. Of course!
You find yourself wanting to reply to the podcast. We do all the real science, you big. Perhaps you could learn something from a little grunt yourself, Dr. Ziegler. It's not grunt work. Education is critical to a robot's development.
Graduate students always overestimate the degree to which teaching actually matters,
says Professor Ziegler, who appears to have entered the machine shop behind you when you weren't looking.
If the robot's smart, it'll learn no matter what. If it's not, it won't.
Okay. Professor Ziegler is a heavy-set man, wearing a Hawaiian shirt and aviator glasses. He stalks over to your computer. We'll be back in a moment, continues the interviewer. We're talking to Professor Ziegler pauses the podcast by hitting your laptop spacebar. You flinch at this intrusion. He then pulls a cigar from his pocket and lights it. The smell of smoke mingles with the oily smell of the machine shop.
I'm writing a grant for DARPA, and I see what you're making back here.
We ultimately get funded by the Department of Defense, so we have to make sure that they're happy with our product. He casts a critical eye on the work you've done so far.
Metal's a good choice, Ziegler says. They'll want things that appear durable in the field.
Ziegler then turns to examine your robot's head, which is currently sitting on the table next to the water jet.
That seems all right.
Looks like it could be sufficiently intimidating.
And what are you planning to do for the arms and hands?
Tyrannosaurus Rex, the most intimidating dinosaur imaginable, isn't it? I will have T-Rex arms. No. Most practical would be this one. I was thinking of Swiss Army knife hands with tools that pop out of fingers. Yeah.
I like it,
Professor says.
They can repair other robots in the battlefield.
Right. And it'll have a screwdriver finger, and lockpicking finger, and mini USB port finger. You decline to mention the bottle opener, though you think that could be popular with soldiers too. Hey? Regardless, experience with a variety of different tools should prove useful in more than just military robots. You wonder if you can make a surgical robot with the same design. Yeah.
Fine,
Ziegler says, without any further explanation.
Carry on, then.
He turns to leave.
I gotta take a call from a New York Times reporter. Funny how journalists all copy each other's stories, but each garble the message in a unique way.
He makes it to the door, then turns and says,
Oh, one more thing. Do you think your robot can be ready by tomorrow? Someone for the Air Force will be in town, and I told her your robot will be ready to show off by then.
You feel your phone vibrate in your pocket. Bad timing. You resist the urge to check it while talking to your advisor, but it's probably someone with a better offer than what to do tonight. Of course, sir. Professor nods appreciatively.
Excellent. Good attitude. We'll make a professor of you yet. I'll tell Captain Rogers to meet you here tomorrow.
It's a nice controlled environment. Pretty consistent light levels. I think not much can go wrong. Yes, sir. Excuse me. Yes, sir. Professor Ziegler turns and walks out of the machine shop. You find yourself unclenching your hands. Who was calling you while Professor Ziegler was talking to you? Here's the love aspect. Here we go. It's Ellie Lau, an experienced designer and supportive friend. Though this guy's pretty cool too.
From the missed call, your phone is displaying Ellie's profile phone. It's a picture of Josh and Ellie from the freshman welcome week dance 7 years ago. Ellie is wearing a red Chinese dress with gold trim, her long, straight, black hair falling down to the epaulets? Epaulets? The flash is too bright for the picture. The flash is too bright in the picture, making Ellie's pale skin look washed out. Josh is wearing his usual gray hoodie, not having bothered to dress up for the dance, and his arm around Ellie. What's the story behind this picture? I was in love with Josh's friend Ellie, but my studies always came first in college. Yeah. Yes. You pined for Ellie in college, but knew that you could not have the time to pursue romance. Not while you were taking 5 classes, some of them graduate work. That photo is from one of the dances during freshman orientation. Before you had homework, you never went to another one. Before you had homework, you never went to another one. You continue to hope that someday your perseverance and dedication will pay off, but a little part of you still longs for Ellie. It's a part you fear. Even though she's working just an hour away in San Francisco, you haven't seen her much recently. You notice that Ellie also left you a text. Ellie wants to meet you for dinner at a jazz and sushi place in San Francisco, which is about an hour north of you. It'll take time to get there. She also has tickets to a rendition of the musical Pippin, in which the characters are robots. Sounds like a date. That's a little terrifying. You text back, sounds great, see you then? Shit. I made 2 commitments. Okay, hang on. Okay, hang on. Great. Ellie texts back, see you then. She texted back immediately. Holy shit. Okay, you spend the rest of the day drilling holes, polishing surfaces, cutting the parts, and screwing things together. When you are done, the robot body stands before you. A metal bipod robot with a masked head and multi-tool hands. The whole thing is about 3 feet tall. Now it only needs a name. What will you name your robot? Well, because we played Beyond the Storm, because we know life is strange. The name of the robot must be Ariel. You name your robot after the spirit servant from Shakespeare's The Tempest. You think yourself a little Prospero-like, after all. And perhaps if Ariel is good, you eventually set the robot free. Now that Ariel has a body, it might be time to treat Ariel more like a person. What pronouns will you refer to Ariel? Like Sebastian. Ariel, will be she'll be the cool princess. She'll be my princess. Encouraging people to think of Ariel as human-like as opposed to object-like will help her get along with people. Empathy. You look on Ariel's 3-foot-tall bipedal body with satisfaction. Now all she needs are motors and a mind. The motors will have to wait for tomorrow, but you'll spend years in grad school writing the code. But you've spent years in grad school writing the code that could form the robot's mind. You can hardly wait to try it out. You take out your smartphone and check the time. It's almost evening. You hurry home to prepare your dinner with Ellie. Shit, I didn't do it right now. I chose love. I chose love, people. Oh, dear. I hope this works out. Ariel, hope you're okay. I need you to be smart, girl. Okay. A contemplative sax solo greets you as you open the door to Yoshi's. The place is cramped and very busy. A tiny jazz quartet is set up in the far corner of the restaurant. Piano, drum set, sax, and a petite Japanese woman in a kimono, holding a mic but directing her attention to the soloist. Near the band, Ellie Lau is reading a book at her table. She's dyed her hair rose red. That's new. Oh.
Her straight locks come down to her jaw. She has pale skin, but her eyes look pacific. She's wearing a black cardigan over a lavender top. A black and white checkered shirt, and leather shoes. The book is titled The Design of Everyday Things, and its cover depicts a red teapot with its spout facing the same way as the handle. Oh. You join her at the table. Hey. She looks up and smiles. Hey. She leans down to put her book in her purse. What have you been up to? Ellie asks. I've been working all day on a new robot, you reply. Just a frame built right now, but I wish I had time to add motors and start its mind running today. It probably could have learned a lot from this conversation. She casts you a skeptical look. What will you hope it'll learn exactly? How not to talk to a girl? Negative examples are important. She laughs. This is why I like you. That dry, techie humor. Yeah. Do you want to come by tomorrow and see her after I power her on? You ask. It's going to be really cool. She shrugs. Sure. Sounds good. It's Sunday morning tomorrow after all. Wait, it is a Sunday tomorrow after all. I'm curious to see you interacting with one of your robots. You used to rave about them all the time, but I don't think I've ever saw one. Ellie cocks her head to one side. What is it with you and robots anyway? I just find them very comforting somehow, like very confused pets. She grins. I could say the same about you. She leans over and ruffles your hair. Don't ever do that again. No, we'll go with it. We'll ruffle her hair. Yeah. You fall into fits of giggling, trying to mess with each other's hair until the waitress awkwardly approaches. Are you two ready to order? You've hardly looked at the menu, so you have to tell the waitress to come back. The tastiest maki rolls look like they've been named after jazz standards. When the waitress returns, you tell her you'll have Blue Moon. When the waitress leaves, Ellie says, Paper Moon is such a cute song. I've never heard it. But it wouldn't make believe if you believe in me. Wait, she sings. But it wouldn't make believe if you believed in me. I don't even know the song. I don't even know how the melody goes. She considers you. Doesn't surprise me. You're the sort of person that wants to make dreams real. Thanks, you say. You're beginning to think she might like you. Like. Scores! Score! What are we, Beavis and Butthead? All right. Okay. So, she says. Let's say you succeed. Robots are among us. What's good about that? What do you want them to do? If I said take over the world. I wonder what they would say. I do. But truly, my goal is to make something beautiful. I do think that's... I am curious what they would say. But ultimately, to just make art, just make things that are beautiful. Yeah. Ellie blinks. Huh. I wasn't expecting you to say that. You take out your smartphone, the one that's going to become Ariel's mind, and show Ellie's pictures of the frame under construction. Check it out! You know, the more I look at it, the clearer it becomes that you've really keen to sense design. You know, the more I look at it, I see. The clearer it becomes that you have a really keen design sense, she says. I'm impressed. Thanks, you say. I think you're really going to do something amazing someday, she says. I know it. Cool. You say grinning a little. Wow, I'm really... Cool. The waitress brings you an order of Paper Moon Maki, and you dig in to eat. Just then, your phone buzzes. You take it out to glance at it. It's reporting malware on your phone's memory card.
Is something wrong? Ellie asks. One sec. You quickly glance at the warning details. Apparently, some kind of virus has decided to take control of your phone's microphone. It appears to be sending packets of audio data somewhere. Damn. Huh. Of all the times to get a security warning on your phone, who the heck would want to listen in on your conversation? You really can't think of anyone. Huh. Just keep copies of the data transmits. It'll be useful for training for Ariel. Indeed. This is what I was hoping for anyway. You read that it's possible to train machine learning algorithms to tell the difference between awkward and non-awkward pauses. The correct amount of time to wait before responding to show that you're listening, but engaged. Since the malware seems to be sending data on whether either of you speaks, you realize that even though the data is encrypted, you could probably at least use the timing information to improve your robot's social skills. You're pretty sure this will be a pretty good example of your robot getting along with people famously. You continue the meal chatting about random topics and enjoying the food. Ellie talks about how it's difficult to meet new people after graduating from college. Since Ellie's half Asian, she runs into a surprising number of people doing online dating who are either Asian or white or can't accept that she's both. She looks to you meaningfully and appreciates that she says this. She looks to you meaningfully and appreciatively when she says this until you finally realize she's dropping a hint. Oh, in college, you never quite believed someone like Ellie would be interested in you, but apparently she is. Pippin turns out to be about the subject you've been thinking about most lately. Pippin turns out to be about the subject you've been thinking about most lately. How to live an extraordinary life instead of an ordinary one. Ellie sold you on this particular production because the supporting cast, everyone but Pippin and the love interest, are all robots. You can see in the play's opening, a number of the robots are following pre-programmed steps and are not intelligent in themselves. But then, that doesn't surprise you. In 2019, artificial intelligence is still mostly being used for handy websites and smartphone apps, not robots. Yeah, they're doing that even right now. 2023, shout out. The first song, Corner of the Sky, is about Pippin feeling that he doesn't belong anywhere and wondering what the purpose of his life is. The robots, which look like imitations of Robbie the robot from Forbidden Planet, are toiling in ordinary lives while Pippin sings about his wish for something better. This is called an I Wish song, Ellie whispers to you. I heard on This American Life that all musicals have to start with a song that's about what the protagonist longs for. It's the unwritten rule of the musicals. You think for a moment about your wish, what your wish song would be. I suddenly recall your conversations with the robot Anubis this morning. And suddenly recall your conversations, with the robot Anubis this morning. It was perhaps a peculiar sort of I wish song. You think of Ariel's frame you built today. You suppose whatever future that dream was hinting at, you still have a long way to go. You are startled to find that Ellie is taking a hold of your hand. Don't panic. Well, if we have happiness and love, we don't need to take over Alaska. It might still happen, but I don't think so. I'm having trouble breathing in. I'm having trouble breathing in. Sorry, I need water. Excuse me. Oh. See, I can't even do that part, so I need to drink water. Here, Let the Australian tell you what this all said one more time.
Scan, button, but Pippin turns out to be about the subject you've been thinking about the most lately, how to live an extraordinary life instead of an ordinary one. Illy sold you on this particular production because the supporting cast, everyone but Pippin and the love interest, are all robots. You can see in the play's opening number that the robots are following pre-programmed steps, and are not intelligent in themselves, but then, that doesn't surprise you. In 2019, artificial intelligence is still mostly being used for handy websites and smartphone apps, not robots. The first song, Corner of the Sky, is about Pippin's feeling that he doesn't belong anywhere, and wondering what the purpose of his life is. The robots, which look like imitations of Robbie the robot from Forbidden Planet, are toiling at ordinary lives while Pippin sings about his wish for something better. This is called an I Wish song. Ellie whispers to you. I heard on This American Life that all musicals have to start with a song that is about what the protagonist longs for. It's like the unwritten rule of musicals. You think for a moment about what your I Wish song would be, and suddenly recall your conversation with the robot Anubis this morning. It was, perhaps, a peculiar sort of I Wish song. You think of Ariel's new frame you built today. You suppose whatever future that dream was hinting at, you still have a long way to go. You are startled to find that Illy has taken hold of your hand. Squeeze her hand. Quietly panic and don't react. Yank away your hand and let her know it's not like that. Exiting narrator.
I like, let her know it's not like that. No, we're going to go for it. Squeeze the hand. You squeeze her hand back and realize that just like that, you're a couple now. You had no idea it could be so easy. The play goes through a series of vignettes in which Pippin leaves one lifestyle after another. He's not content to be a soldier, nor a king, nor a simple man in love. As Pippin sings about how he's going to leave the woman he met in the countryside to achieve something great, you think, he's a damn fool to give up his love because he has delusions of grandeur. You resolve that you will not be like this self-involved protagonist. You will, above all, live a good life. And if it means not making it into the history books, well, they could talk about someone else for all you care. Yeah, I got Ellie. You're pleased to see that Pippin makes the same choice, presented with a ring of fire to jump through to achieve greatness. He decides not to go through with it and returns to his love. Isn't that the hero's journey? To come back to the place you knew and appreciated it? Why not love your home from the beginning? But perhaps you're the sort of person who will get wrapped up in history whether you will it or not. Who knows? Since the evening's going well, Ellie asked to see more of your robots, but that would mean going back to my place, you say, and then you say, oh. You return to your apartment and flick on the light. Somewhat embarrassed at the unmade bed and mess of clothes you left on the floor. I'm sorry. You're going to see my robot in action tonight. Here, check this out. You show Ellie a little 8-legged robot with a smartphone for a body. What is it with you and phone robots? Ellie asks. Well, I hate to throw away my old phone. My plan gives me a free one, that's true, right? You respond, the processor is usually still as powerful as the desktop from a few years ago, so I use my old phones for robots. This one does simultaneous localization and mapping, or SLAM for short. You power on the robot and let it go on your floor. It promptly starts ramming the trash can next to your bed. Slam, you say? Ellie says, amused. It worked in college. Isn't it a little dark in here? Ellie says, peering at your fishbowl-shaped light fixture. I think one of the bulbs is out up there. She stands on a chair, quickly unscrewing the light fixture and hands it to you. Indeed, one of the 2 light bulbs underneath is out. Thanks, you say, a little embarrassed. The light fixture is also hella dusty. Hella? You have another? She asks, unscrewing the dead bulb. No, you say. Then an idea strikes you. I think pickles are luminescent when you electrify them. I saw it on the Discovery Channel once. I have one in my fridge. Ellie gives you a dubious but curious look. Come on, pickle. Or we could just leave the lights off. What did you have in mind? Ellie says coyly. Kiss Ellie, then see if things can go further. Oh. In the dark, you kiss Ellie. She enthusiastically returns the kiss. You start to remove her layers. She helps you. Her underthings are red, like her coat and hair. What happens next, we will not embarrass you with here. It's too sacred. You know already that you will carry scenes from this night with you for a long time, as examples of a time when you were absolutely, without reservation, happy. The fact that your happiness doesn't involve robots at all confuses and frightens you a little bit, but you feel your world getting a little bit larger. Still later, when Ellie is already asleep, your mind has already returned to Ariel. What will the Air Force officer think of Ariel tomorrow? Despite yourself, you spend the night imagining one scenario after another, worrying about where Ariel will be ready or not. End of chapter 1. Wow. Well, that was, I guess we chose love. Here I was planning to do things differently, but hey, if we have Ellie with us, we have Ariel, we have Ellie. Maybe things will be alright. We'll see. Well, I guess this is a short stream. Thank you for joining me. We'll stop here at chapter 1. I am LT Leroy Jenkins on Twitch, or you will find me at House of Two Salt on YouTube. There are many more choose your own adventure stories, and I like it. I like them a lot, so we'll read them. I will keep getting better microphones, because the one I have right now is not the best, but we'll see how it goes. So again, thank you for listening, thank you for joining. Stay safe out there. Let's just sing bad songs. I really want to sing. I really want to start singing. Alright. Take care of your peeps. Bless.